Now, this gives you a lot of the rules I just kind of went over in example 1, just audibly. If there's going to be a vertical asymptote, it occurs anytime you can factor out and solve for x in the denominator. If there's going to be a horizontal asymptote, it goes off the powers. Bigger on bottom, that's if the bottom power is greater than the top, or whether the top is less than the bottom. What you do is y equals 0 will be your horizontal asymptote always. If the powers are the same, you divide the leading coefficients. If the power is bigger on the top, then there's no horizontal asymptote. It'll be some different type. X-intercepts occur when you solve for the zeros on the top. So distinguish here. Intercepts, or zeros, are when the top equals 0. A vertical asymptote is when the bottom equals 0. So that's just kind of the general rules. We'll go through these really fast. I'm going to go in this order. I'm going to say the vertical asymptote. Remember how we find that? You set the denominator equal to 0. So we'd say x plus 5 equals 0. We'd have a vertical asymptote at x equals -5. Secondly, horizontal asymptote. Which rule does it follow? Well, I got one power on the bottom, so I would say it is bigger on bottom, which means y equals 0. Secondly, it doesn't just say vertical and horizontal asymptotes, it also says intercepts. So to find an intercept, or a 0, you set the top equal to 0. So 7 equals 0, and you solve. Well, that can never happen. So there's none here, since that cannot exist. 7 cannot be equal to 0, so there's none. So we look at the picture here. You'll see that it does not hit, just like we said, it does not hit the x-axis. There's no intercept. There's a horizontal asymptote, though, that we could add into the graph at y equals 0. All right, so this is y equals 0. I'm going to label these. This is x equals -5, like we said. Domain. The domain here, I'll just state that I'll do it in set builder. X cannot equal -5. That's the one value this doesn't touch. Okay, this one. Let's go through these again. Vertical asymptote first. To solve for the vertical asymptote, you set the denominator equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0. This, if you don't know, is a difference of squares, because both terms are squared and there's a negative between them. So you could factor this. You could say that it's x plus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0. Or you could also say that x squared equals 4. So you can solve it either way. Now, whenever you take a square root that's not originally there, you've got to put a plus or minus. So it'd be plus or minus 2 when you take the square root of 4. Or here you could say that x equals, let me change that to a 2. So you'd say x equals -2, and here x equals +2. So we have two vertical asymptotes this time. I showed you two different ways of solving that. Now let's go to horizontal asymptote. Here, I'm bigger on the bottom because that's a power 1, power 2. So bigger on bottom, we have a y equals 0 asymptote. And then finally, for any intercepts, you set the top equal to 0. So I would say that x plus 1 equals 0. So x equals -1, that's an intercept. So let's look at our picture. When x equals -1, there's our intercept. -1, 0. We have that there. This is the asymptote, x equals -2. This one's x equals +2. And this is y equals 0. It says state the domain. So again, I'm going to do it in set builder. X cannot equal -2 and 2. That's our domain. Now here's one for you to try.